My name is David, and I want to share with you the 2 times I escaped death and the miracles that followed. My life has changed forever because of these experiences. The first time happened when I was 4 years old. It was a warm summer day, and my mother was preparing to take my brother and me to the shopping mall, a paradise for children like us at the time. I was sitting on a plastic tricycle, a common toy for young kids back then. My brother stood across the street and called out, "David, hurry up, we're about to go." Without hesitation, I pedaled hard, racing down a small slope in a neighbor's driveway, but I didn't see a car speeding toward me. Bang! Everything went black. I felt as if I had been pushed out of my body. When I opened my eyes, I saw myself lying on the ground, eyes rolled back, mouth open, body motionless. But strangely, I felt no pain. Then a bright white light surrounded me. I felt myself being lifted up as light as a feather. When I opened my eyes again, I realized I was sitting beside someone, no, a being. The being was draped in a long, flowing white robe that touched the ground. Their hair was silver white, silky, and reached all the way down. I could feel warmth emanating from them, an infinite sense of peace enveloping me. "Do not be afraid," they said without moving their lips. I realized we were communicating through thoughts. I looked at them with the innocent eyes of a child. There was something strangely familiar about them, a feeling as if I had known them before. "What happened?" I asked. "It is not your time to leave," they said, gazing at me with deep love. "But I want you to remember this. You were born from the light, and one day you will return to the light." I didn't fully understand the meaning of these words, but my heart sensed an undeniable truth in them. The being leaned down, gently touched my forehead, and said, "Now sleep. You will wake up in your world." I obeyed, closed my eyes, and when I opened them, I was lying in a hospital bed, surrounded by my parents and new toys. But the strangest thing was, I couldn't clearly remember the encounter with that being. There was only a vague feeling that I had seen something profoundly important. 30 years passed. My life returned to normal, but I always felt like something was missing. I grew up, became a busy man, preoccupied with work and responsibilities. I wasn't religious, but deep down, I always wondered, is there a greater power watching over me? And then, the second accident happened. That day I was driving 70 miles per hour on a winding road. I wasn't a careful driver. Maybe I had been reckless too many times. Suddenly, my tires lost traction, and my car skidded across the road. Crash. The car slammed into a telephone pole, spun around, then flipped 5 times before coming to a stop. Everything went dark. But this time, I wasn't just pulled out of my body, I was sucked into another place. I found myself standing in an endless field surrounded by a radiant light, and before me was them, the same angel from years ago, but this time I realized they were not just a being of light. On their chest was a glowing cross. "Have you forgotten me?" they asked, their voice filled with love. Memories flooded my mind like a rushing waterfall. I remembered everything. The angels smiled and extended their hand toward me. When I touched them, I saw an incredible vision. I saw a perfect world, a place with no hatred, no pain, only pure love. The angel said to me, "This is where you came from before you were born, and this is where you will return." I started crying. I didn't want to leave. But they said, "Your mission is not yet complete. You must go back and remember this. You were created from love, and you must spread that love." As soon as they finished speaking, I felt myself being pulled back. And I opened my eyes in the emergency room. From that day forward, I was no longer the same person. I began searching for answers about what I had seen. I read the Bible, studied near-death experiences of others. And I realized all religions teach the same thing, love. I also discovered something strange. I could feel other people's energy. One day, I saw an elderly woman fall onto the pavement. Instinctively, I rushed over, placed my hand on her back. Immediately, she turned to look at me, tears welling in her eyes. "Young man, my body feels warm and I'm not in pain anymore." At that moment, I understood that the angel had taught me not only about love, but also about healing. I was no longer an atheist. I knew that God was always there, not as a distant deity, but as a source of light and love within each of us. We are not just physical bodies. We are eternal souls created from divine light. And one day, we will return to where we belong. And the most important lesson I learned from my 2 near-death experiences was, love is everything. Chapter 5. The Path of Faith. After my second near-death experience, I could no longer return to being the same person I was before. I felt that a divine mission had been entrusted to me, but I didn't know where to begin. I went to a local church, a place I had rarely visited before. I knelt before the great cross, and for the first time in my life, I truly prayed. Lord, if you truly sent your angel to me, if what I saw was not an illusion, please show me the path you want me to follow. There was no voice echoing in my mind, as in my near-death experience. No brilliant light appeared before my eyes, but something within me changed. A deep sense of peace filled my soul. I started reading the Bible. I studied the lives of saints and those who had similar experiences to mine. I realized that what I had seen was not unique. Many people had escaped death and witnessed the light, seen God, and encountered angels. And then something even stranger happened. I began to receive prophetic dreams. One night I had a strange dream. I saw myself standing in a vast field, the sky glowing red like a sunset. In front of me was a great bridge, but in the middle of the bridge a crowd stood in fear, unable to cross. Beyond the bridge I saw a city of gold. It shone like the sun, breathtaking beyond imagination. A voice echoed in my mind. "David, you have a mission to help these people cross the bridge. You must guide them to the light." I woke up suddenly, my heart pounding. I couldn't immediately understand the meaning of the dream, but I knew it wasn't an ordinary vision. Similar dreams continued. Sometimes I saw myself standing in a dark forest, holding a bright lantern, guiding lost souls. Other times I stood before a massive gate, where a voice asked me, "Are you ready?" I began to realize that God didn't just want me to believe in Him, He wanted me to act. When I started sharing my story with people, I noticed something unusual. Those who were suffering, the sick, and the lost began to seek me out. One woman in the church approached me and said, "David, I heard you had a miraculous experience. I'm seriously ill and I've lost hope. Can you pray for me?" I wasn't a priest nor a preacher, but I felt that I couldn't refuse. I placed my hand on her shoulder, closed my eyes, and prayed, "Lord, if this is your will, please heal this woman. Let her feel your love and light." She began to cry. She said she felt a warm energy flowing through her body, an overwhelming sense of peace. The next day she returned and told me that she had gone for a medical checkup. The doctors couldn't believe it. Her illness had vanished. And this wasn't the only time. I met a man struggling with severe depression, someone who had once contemplated suicide. I talked to him, shared with him about God's love and my experience. A week later, he returned, telling me that he had found hope again. At that moment, I understood that the gift I had received was not meant for me alone. But as I walked this path, I also faced opposition. I began sensing dark entities. These were not lost souls, but malevolent forces, entities from another realm. I had dreams where I was surrounded by darkness, attacked by eerie whispers. One night, I felt a heavy pressure on my chest, as if something was trying to suffocate me. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. But then I remembered the angel's words. "You were born from the light." With all my strength, I forced out a single phrase. "In the name of Jesus Christ, leave this place." Instantly, the pressure disappeared. I could breathe again, and the room became brighter. I realized that there was a battle happening, a battle between light and darkness, and I had been chosen to stand on the side of the light. Today I share this story not to boast about what I have experienced, but to tell you that God is always there. Whether you believe or not, whether you feel lost, He is always watching over you. I no longer fear death because I know we don't truly die. We simply return home. And our mission here in this world is to spread love, light, and kindness. Because when we love one another, when we help each other, we are not just doing good. We are bringing heaven closer to this world.